Hello and welcome to The Breakdown with your not-so-humble talking hairdo, Ben. Welcome in, everybody. It's quite a day for sports and for everything else, turns out. And we are coming to you live from the Neon Parrot Live studios here at the Majestic Coffee Shop in downtown Abilene, Texas. And come get you a drink. They're allegedly serving Onyx coffee here. It's the best in the West. And I'd like to thank my technical producer extraordinaire, Sam, a.k.a. Sammy. And, man, we're gonna chop it up today. We were on a hiatus last week. Last week was kind of what we might call our bye week here in the sports biz. Because the Bears did not play last Thursday, anyways, the weekend before last, and so Big Frank went on a little trip to, I believe, like the Vermont area, and we're gonna get him on the phone here towards whenever I get through this intro stuff. Okay, we're not gonna go through my picks from like 2 weeks ago because who remembers, who cares, right? But today I got stuff scattered all over. There's so much news in the world, and I want to start with my girl Diane Keaton has moved on to the other side, and that's pretty, we lost another great one over the weekend on Saturday, I believe, and just a phenomenal actress, and she started her career, her big movie was with Woody Allen in Annie Hall, which I have not seen. I was talking to Sammy about this earlier. I have yet to see that film, which I am slightly embarrassed because it's, kind of what really shot her off, into some early stardom. But she was a big one to me. Obviously, you have The Godfather. She played Michael Corleone's wife, and that film, and that was epic. Just wow, crazy. She even came back for The Godfather 3, which everybody agrees is the worst Godfather, but it's still worth a watch. Man, so my favorite Diane Keaton films is going to be, I think, what tops them all. So she was also in Father of the Bride. I believe she was Steve Martin's wife in that movie. And it's just a lot of banger 90s movies, okay? My favorite, I think, all-time Keaton movie has to be with Jack Nicholson and Something's Gotta Give, which also had Keanu Reeves and, I should know her name, but I can't remember it. The Amanda Peet, I think that was. I think that was in the early 2000s when that movie came out, but I just don't know if it gets much better than that movie. Sammy's got it pulled up right here. I love that I can see what's going on. But, man, Something's Gotta Give is just fantastic, incredible movie. And it's got the highs, the lows. It's a rom-com, okay? Call me whatever you want to call me. I love rom-coms, but it's bigger than a rom-com because you got Jack and Diane, right, in that film. Now, when I was a kid, I want to say in like probably 1993 or 94, was The First Wives Club. And The First Wives Club was, for some reason or another, it was just always on HBO, and my family at the time had an HBO subscription, and I would just, I don't know, it was always on, and it was so funny, and it had Goldie Hawn and Bette Midler and Diane Keaton in that movie, and it's about these women whose, their husbands are all, midlife crisis, whatever, divorcing them, marrying younger women, or dating younger women or whatever, and it's just hilarious. It was, I think, is way before its time. It had Jesse Spano from Saved by the Bell in that movie, and that was one of her kind of first movie roles before Showgirls, I believe. But man, Diane, I just hate that. I mean, we all get old, and it just happens. But I absolutely can't say enough. And when these people die, is I think when we all really look back on our childhoods and think about how that kind of what kind of impact those artists, actors, actresses, whatever, musicians, whatever your kind of preferred medium is with art, I think is just pretty fantastic. And she was definitely one for me. And I don't think about her very much until one of her movies comes on or something. And matter of fact, I started watching First Wives Club just the other night because of this, and I'm going to watch Something's Gotta Give. Probably going to save that one for closer to Christmas time because I like to get my rom-coms in around the holiday seasons. But anyways, Diane Keaton, what just a gem and just an incredible actress. So from here at the Breakdown, Diane Keaton, we thank you for all that you did to entertain me as a young child and into a grown man. But so that is my kind of tribute to Diane Keaton because we've talked around here before, especially back over the early summer days when Blake, the Aggie Viking Blake, was on my show as a special guest. He's also a big lover of film and movies. And so I don't know, it just kind of hits me hard every time we lose one of these just iconic figures. And I think it's because of that we think about him from our childhood. And especially I mean, we all, our grandparents and parents, everybody is partial to their childhood era, decade, whatever. And most people would be right, but there is something about the 90s, the early, in the 80s, the 80s kids are going to say whatever they're going to say, and that's fine too. There's a hell of a lot of good stuff about the 80s talking movies here. But the 90s, the technology kind of shifted. Actors have always been great since 1,000 years ago. But there's something about 90s movies, whether it was rom-coms, action, everything that just it's like everything kind of just came alive a little bit more. So I am partial to 90s movies, and but let's move on. I just spent at least 7 minutes on that. That's okay, because I wanted to open this one up with something cool like that and something reverent. Alrighty, let's see here. What we're going to move into next is, y'all know, if you watch the show, that I cover at times some political things, specifically the artificial intelligence stuff that's going on in our community and all over the entire world, the race for the instead of the nuclear arms race, it is a artificial intelligence race that's happening all over the world right now. And before I get into that, the other thing that's going on, and I try not to touch on these too much because I know how controversial these topics are. However, I'm only here to ask a question about this topic. Okay? So this has to do with the ICE raids, the border enforcement raids that have been happening over the last, 8 months or whatever it's been. This article that I gave Sammy is a New York Post article because I love the New York Post. They kind of just call it how it is most of the time. Well, in Chicago right now, there's a lot of pushback in some of these major cities that are having these immigration crackdowns. The Mexican cartels have put bounties up to $50,000 on the heads of ICE and CBP officers in Chicago. That's interesting. I think that's telling. Why would a narco terrorist group want to put hits out on our enforcement agents. You make your own decision there. Now, here's my question to everyone regarding this issue. And I'm going to not take a side here on this. And it's not a cop-out. I think it's easy to not take a side, and that's how I'm going to do this right now. So I have a love-hate relationship with Stephen A. Smith. He's an ESPN personality. I love sports. This is primarily a sports show. He has a radio show on Sirius XM, which I listen to, and I really like him. And was it Doc Rivers? Yeah, Doc Rivers, an NBA coach just recently. He's from Chicago, and he recently had a presser because the NBA season's about to start. So Doc Rivers kind of goes out of his way to say, I can't believe what's happening in my city with these raids, and this isn't what this country's about. This is not what we're supposed to be doing. Anyway, so Stephen A., he agrees with Doc, and he's like, yeah, I just can't believe what's going on here. And this is, they have their sports show, like I have my sports show. And that's fine. We can all voice our opinions for now in this country. But my question is regarding the just utter kind of vitriol and disagreement with all this ICE stuff. Is what I'm hearing is that we should be able to choose which of our laws that we enforce. That's what I'm hearing from people that just can't believe this is going on. Well, it means a couple of things. One of the things it means is that for a very long time, we have chosen not to enforce certain laws that are on the books. But now, when they are being enforced, we've got a big problem. So usually how it works in the legal system, in the penal code or whatever you're dealing with, if the mass majority of people and courts don't agree with the law or want a new law, then they write that into legislation. Well, for the last 50 years or whatever it's been, we have just kind of very, very loosely been enforcing our immigration laws. And so have a lot of people in the rest of the world. And I'm not arguing for or against that. I am just asking why, if we're going to choose which laws we're going to enforce and which we're not going to enforce, then that means that I've got some opinions on some other things that I don't appreciate being enforced. And I'm not going to get into those because I don't want to lay myself out there on what laws that I don't like because I'm on the internet now. But so that's my question to you. And then we're going to move on in just a moment. But I just kind of want to reiterate, if we don't like the laws, then we need to change the laws, because basically what I'm hearing is that theoretically any law can just not be enforced, which I'm a libertarian. I've explained that myself to you on this show about 2 months ago of where I stand politically, and it's I consider myself quite center, but also I don't like to be messed with, and I don't agree with many laws in this country. So there it is. So we're either going to enforce the rules or we're not going to enforce the rules. And I just see it being difficult having it both ways right now. So that is my thoughts on that issue. Those are my thoughts. Now, let's go to what makes this country actually such a great place, and that is sports. Okay? That is something that we all collectively get under our tents about, and we love. Not all of us, but most of us. Even soccer fans. Okay? I even love all you soccer fans out there. Okay, so tonight, this October is the best month of sports, in my opinion, because we have Major League Baseball, which I talk trash about baseball all the time. Y'all give me a break on that today because these series have been pretty entertaining. So we have the baseball playoffs going on. The NFL and the college football season are just right in the slot right now, it's just so good. The weather's changing everywhere but Abilene, Texas, but in the prettier parts of the country, they're actually having what some known as fall, and the leaves change and it gets cool, but we don't have that here. But we have MLB, we got NFL tonight, and we have college football tonight, and all weekend. It's just beautiful. So tonight, the Brewers at the Dodgers. The Dodgers lead this series 2-0. The Dodgers, I don't even know how they do it. Well, they have lots and lots of money, and they have some of the best players. Maybe that's it. But the Dodgers are going to be hard to get rid of. The Blue Jays at the Mariners. The Mariners lead that series 2-1. The Blue Jays won last night. I watched that. It was like 13-2 or something. Like, the Blue Jays were hitting bombs. And how about our friends to the north in Canada? You know, it's not often that Canadians win championships in American sports. And the Toronto Blue Jays fans are they're a pretty solid fan base. And that is the only Major League Baseball city in Canada or anywhere else. So that would be cool for them if they got a win there. And so I'm keeping up with that. It's pretty interesting, kind of fun, as much as I hate regular season baseball. Okay, tonight, NFL, 7:15 p.m., Steelers at the Bengals. Me and Sammy were trying to figure out what to call it. It's the Battle of the Old, or the, I don't know, the Old Man Bowl, whatever you want to call it. So we have the Steelers, which we know, there he is right there. Aaron Rodgers, number 8, has been playing lights out at like 41. I think he's 41 years old now. And then we have the Bengals, as Joe Burrow's gone down once again with a season-ending injury. That kid is going nowhere. But anyways, Burrow's out, so the Bengals call up Joe Flacco, the another 40-plus-year-old dude that's been like a mercenary for hire for these NFL teams that just can't figure it out at quarterback. He's the old dude that can just like he can keep it going. He can throw the ball. He can sling it still. And he is playing for Cincinnati on loan from the Cleveland Browns. So from one crappy team to another crappy team he goes, but he wins games. Tonight's going to be crazy. The Steelers are a 5.5-point favorite. It's prime time. It's Thursday night football. This year, Thursday nights have been much better than years in the past. We've talked about that as well. I don't know. I think I'm gonna wait till I get Big Frank on a minute to make that pick. It's hard not all the talking hairdos are saying that the Steelers are gonna take this one pretty easily. The Steelers have been pretty solid. I don't know. I don't know if I like lately if the lines are high like this. It's not quite a touchdown, but that makes me nervous, especially on Thursday night. Any kind of prime time standalone game, you never know what could happen. And the Bengals do have dudes on their team. Now, tonight, we have Tulsa in the college world. We have Tulsa at East Carolina. Only you gamblers are going to give a damn about that. But just so you know, Tulsa has been really good to me this year, okay? Tulsa at East Carolina. Tulsa is a 14-point dog, okay? Tulsa will go in there and scrap with you. East Carolina Pirates, I think they are. I know who they are. I know who East Carolina is. Okay, before I get Big Frank on, I do want to discuss the college football situation. So this weekend we have USC at Notre Dame. Why is this interesting, important to me? Notre Dame is the only university in the NCAA that is not affiliated with a conference like the SEC or the Big 12, Big 10, whatever, Mountain West. The Notre Dame is like their own, and it's so fitting and kind of ironically funny to me because they're the Catholic school or whatever. But, you know, they have Touchdown Jesus at their football field, this big statue thing. And okay, if everybody, whatever with all that. Like I said, I don't want to make people mad about what I think is silly. But Notre Dame is the only school that kind of just plays by their own rules. They have their own TV deal. But here's what's happening is all this conferences have been realigned over the last, I guess, the last 2 years ago, it was a big realignment. Basically, USC is now in the Big Ten. And so USC is playing all kinds of crazy teams all year. And Notre Dame, they're not really playing a lot of big names. And Notre Dame needs USC. They need this game. And USC's kind of like, we don't really need to play you. There's this old rivalry. I get it. But are we tired of Notre Dame yet? I think I'm tired of Notre Dame. I love Rudy and everything, but I just don't like what kind of control and power they seem to wield just because they are who they are. So Notre Dame is like a 7 or 8 point favorite this weekend in South Bend, Indiana, which is really beautiful. I hear this time of year. It will not get up to 92 degrees in South Bend today, folks, but it will probably where I am sitting now. Yeah, USC is like a 7.8 point dog. I like USC to cover that, but I think Notre Dame's probably going to win. And for the Aggies, it would be better if Notre Dame beats USC because it will make their win look better. So I know Blake's going to listen to the show later and criticize me like he does every week about my college football takes and specifically the SEC. But there you go. If Notre Dame wins, then it makes the Aggies win look better. And you're welcome. But I don't know. There's part of me that wants the gold helmets to go down. So, as I keep teasing Big Frank's appearance, I did want to no, I don't care about tennis right now. Kidding me? Okay, college football. I wanted to make just a couple of other things. Texas Tech is on fire right now. Early on in the preseason, or they don't have preseason, but when we talked about the billionaire former Texas Tech Red Raider offensive lineman who became a oil tycoon billionaire over the last several years, he has invested lots of millions out of his billions in our roster. I say our because I went to Texas Tech for just about 4 years, almost martyr. Okay. Where was I going with that? I don't know. Let's see here. We've got Army, nobody cares. Baylor versus TCU. I want TCU to win by 100. Probably won't happen. I'm trying to look for my Aggies and my Texas Tech Red Raiders. I'm searching. There's just so many college football games every damn weekend. It's crazy to keep up with. This is why gamblers don't win, because they get caught up and they hit too many picks. Okay, Texas A&M versus Arkansas. A&M's an 8-point favorite. I'm going to just go ahead and say yes. This is for Blake. This is for you. Yes, Texas A&M, but Arkansas is a really tough team. I don't know. Now, Arkansas kind of sucks this year, but they are in the SEC, and they can make noise, and it is a home game. But I would love nothing more for A&M to cover that spread and beat ASS there. Okay, who we got? Texas Tech and Arizona State. Tech is a 7-point favorite. I like that one. I like Tech to go in and roll. Okay. Ooh, Texas at Kentucky. That could be a choke artist performance for Arch Manning. Who knows? Okay, yeah, there's the USC. Oh, I was wrong. USC is a 9.5 point underdog against Notre Dame. Oh, I always love this one, the Battle of the Mormons, Utah versus BYU. I call it the Who Gives a Damn Bowl. I'm not going to watch that. I love to pick on Mormons. It's too easy. I do apologize to any Mormon listeners we have. It's just you guys are easy to pick on. You really are. Okay, we're going to get it to Big Frank on the telephone, and I'm going to get to. Oh, I can't believe I didn't start the show with this. Raiders win, Bears win. Both wins over the weekend. And boy, did we need that. We both franchises really needed that. And I want to see what Big Frank has to say about that. Okay, I got to look him up here. And Big Frank, like I said, went to the foliage tour. We're going to get that up here in a little bit. Oh, yeah. Come on, Big Frank. Get my little pick'em sign up here again.
Hello.
Hey, Big Frank. How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, Ben? How are you?
Oh, man, I'm doing great. This is my favorite time of year, I think. All the sports, all the football going on.
I hear you. Oh, yeah.
And we're coming off of some victories ourselves, aren't we?
Yes, we are. The Raiders and the Bears both win the same weekend, huh? How's that?
Oh, that was so cool. That was so cool. I loved, the Raiders win. That's kind of like, because of who we were playing. But the Bears win. That was a great win. I thought that was great.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Monday night was a pretty good game. Weird, the Raiders game and this game, both scores were 25-24.
Oh, I forgot that. That's pretty wild.
I didn't even realize it too till I was reading the paper the next day. They were talking about that. It's going down to the last minute. Last time we blocked a field goal. This time we made one. So, but yeah,
I gotta ask you. So, what newspaper do you read, Big Frank?
Well, during the week I read the Sun-Times.
Okay.
Because it's still I'm a newspaper guy. I get up in the morning and I get my coffee and I go read the newspaper. Now
Same.
I'm sure I can get it online and everything, but that's not me. I actually have to have the paper in my hand. And then on Sundays I'll switch to the Tribune because they have a lot more sections on it. And do it that way. So I'm a paper guy. So I got to read the paper every day. Plus I see news off my phone, but I'm just the kind of a guy, like, I got to have that paper in front of me, and I like to read it and see what's going on. So
yeah, that's so cool, because just a few years back, I got into just the Wall Street Journal because a buddy of mine kind of turned me onto it, and I'm like you now. I just love having the paper in my hand and all the different sections and the personals and everything.
Yeah,
so cool.
I just can't get used to looking it off your iPad or on your phone,
Absolutely.
I feel like I'm missing something and I'm not seeing everything.
So which one's your favorite between the two? Like if a guy was just going to read one of those papers a week, would you say the Sun or the other one, the Tribune?
The Tribune has a little bit more sections to it. And the only reason why, this is kind of a crazy way, the Sun-Times is like a book format. It's just it's one page, but whereas the Tribune is the fold one. It's folded in half. Then you have to unfold it, and then you go from left to right on it. So you got these big long pages. So if you're, depending upon where you're at, it's kind of a pain in the butt to open up the paper
right
and read it like that. So that's kind of one of the reasons why the week I do just the Sun-Times, because it's easier and there's not much going on. But they really do a nice job on Sundays, and they have like 7 or 8 sections that you go from. So I'll get it then. But either one you can't go wrong on. Those are probably the only two that are left around here.
That's cool. Well, I'm gonna look into that because I love the big newspapers. I think they're cool.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Okay, to get back on track, what do you think about what Troy Aikman had to say about your Bears? Come on.
We were watching the game, and we brought the truck out, and we had my son, we had his son's house. There was probably about 10 or 15 people out there, and you always have the volume up. But, with people there, you don't really, pay much attention to it, but you kind of do. And a couple of the guys were saying, man, because they're always on their Twitter accounts and everything. And they say, boy, Aikman's really getting blasted for the biased, opinions he had. And I really didn't, pay much attention to it, going through the game. So they're always taped anyway. And I like to go back and look at them again, and see for different things. And it, I don't know. I don't know if it was that much biased as much as he was really kind of, telling the truth on stuff. That 55-yard touchdown to Swift, that was all blind luck. It was a nice pass, but he makes one guy miss him, and then he runs down the sideline. Now, 99% of the time, that guy tackles him, and you're only going to get like a 10 or 12-yard gain out of it. But, he ran it in for a score, and his other comments, I guess, I don't know. You could say what's going on down here is in Chicago here, you hear a lot of it. Apparently, how they get together when the national television has a game, usually the announcers, they want to meet with, the star players before the game and do like a pregame meeting and stuff like that.
Right.
Well, apparently he reached out to, Caleb, because you're going to talk to him, but he was busy in meetings and stuff like that. And he kind of forgot the time. So then he tried to call him back, and then he's saying, well, Aikman didn't answer him back, and he reached out multiple times to try to set it up. So they're saying that maybe Aikman was kind of miffed that he didn't have the time for him, to go over stuff, and so he was a little bit more critical, than normal, and things like that. So it's kind of like one of those little, I think petty things that just get kind of, blown out of proportion per se.
I'd agree with that.
Yeah, everybody's upset about it around here. They think he was just all pro, Jaden Daniels and not Caleb Williams. And again, I didn't go through it again and see it because, like I say, when we're watching the game, you're just out there watching it, and the guys are talking, so you're not really listening to the broadcast per se,
right,
on what's going on. So
yeah, I thought Aikman was a little more critical to Caleb than he needed to be, but because I was on my couch watching the deal, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
and so I listened to the whole thing, and I do think the Chicago folks do have something there to. But that's it. It keeps it interesting, right? I mean, that's one of the reasons we watch all
I think
this.
one of the bigger things, and it's kind of interesting because it comes back, is what I was more concerned about. And every time you watch your team, you always think you're going to get ripped on some calls. Okay,
sure.
But the officiating in that game was just absolutely pathetic.
It was garbage.
Obviously it's not, you're not going to hear it all of it in Chicago, but the one play where we had Rome Odunia scored that touchdown, beautiful pass by Caleb. The guy was covered, he threw it only where Odunze could get it. And we were called for an illegal formation because apparently our left tackle was off the line.
And that was he was so not off the line.
No, it
not even.
wasn't. And then the one where they called, and I guess this is because you're a rookie. I don't understand that thing too when they say, well, you got to earn a call in the NFL.
Yeah, what is that?
I think that's bullshit. Excuse my language.
Yes.
I think it's, if it's a call, it's a call. The pass interference on Colston Loveland when he allegedly pushed off and they got a first down, it's a big play because instead of in a first down, it's fourth down. And, I think we kicked the field goal on that one and got some points out of it. But we could have got more. And it's just, we were flagged for 87 yards and those guys only had 5 or 10. And then it's just like, and again, you're looking at it, and I understand I'm looking at it from a Bears fan perspective, but I watch a lot of games too, even when I don't have any, skin in the game. And I'm thinking to myself, well, how could that call against them? Another prime example that they're talking about over here, and I don't know if they're talking about much, is the Detroit one.
Oh, yeah.
The Jared Goff touchdown.
That's what I was going to ask you about. How in the hell is that okay?
Well, and now the big thing is, that's not a reviewable play because it's I think it's like an illegal motion or something like that, and that's not reviewable. But they're saying now that Dan Campbell was told on the field that New York called in and said it was a penalty, which you're not supposed to do. And apparently, as long as he doesn't put his hands under center, He's not considered a quarterback, so he can go in motion. But they are saying he didn't set, and he got to be set for a second, I guess, if you go in motion before the ball is snapped.
Right.
And so technically it was, but and they're saying, and then there's that report that came out from the University of Texas, El Paso, who did over the last, I don't know if you heard about this one today, they did a report over the last 5 or 6 years that the calls that gone against teams that the Kansas City Chiefs are playing, it's like 85 or 95% in favor of the Chiefs.
Yes.
At critical calls against all of their Super Bowl wins and playoff wins heading up until obviously last Super Bowl. The refs didn't have a chance to there, but it just makes interesting things of the refereeing is really, really bad, I guess, this year is what I'm trying to say. And that's just not from Bears games that I watch. It's just that I watch from all over.
Yeah, and the Chiefs thing, too, like early on, a couple years back, I'm like, okay, everybody wants this to be a conspiracy theory. Come on. But, yes, like it is really – when you actually sit down and watch one of those Chiefs games, if it's close at all, they're getting the calls.
Yeah, and I don't understand that thing like, well, Patrick Mahomes earns the respect of the referees. Like, and it's true. Like, that roughing the we got a roughing the passer penalty against Washington when he barely touched the guy's head.
Yes.
Okay, but apparently if you touch the head, you're going to get called. And some of them you get called. Caleb Williams gets just absolutely waylaid sometimes, and they don't get the calls. But it's like if you're just anywhere near Patrick Holmes, they're going to throw a flag on you.
Absolutely.
And Travis Kelce gets all the benefit of the doubts on the pass interferences and stuff like that. And it's just like the officiating. I know they've gone back and forth about, well, full-time referees would, you would probably get rid of a lot of that stuff because they'd be working on things more. But I think with all these rule changes that they have, it's like, what constitutes pass interference now? What constitutes, a guy not on the line if his head is like 2 inches back more? How do you call that? You know what I'm saying? And seems like the officiating this year is really, really bad, and you hope it doesn't come down to the point where it costs your team a game, so I don't know.
Yeah, you're exactly right about that. I'm going to get back to some football questions in a minute, but we got to talk about your did you go to Vermont? Is there Oh yeah, can you hear me?
Hey, Ben.
Yes, sir.
Hello.
Oh, something happened.
Hey, Ben.
Yeah, can you hear me, bud?
Yeah, you broke up. I didn't hear anything when you said we're going to get back to football, and then after that you broke up. So I got you now.
Okay, good deal. I was going to ask you about your foliage tour trip. We got to talk about that.
Yeah. Because last week we didn't do any. You were busy, so we didn't get out. But yeah, it was fun. It was a good time. We've never been to that part of the country. The colors, they're going through the same thing as everybody has. From the Midwest down even to Texas with the drought this year.
Yeah.
They had a lot of rain up there, so a lot of the trees are just losing their leaves before they get those really bright, vibrant, yellows and reds. So there was some of it, but, a lot of the areas were just a little bit more, what they said, it's not as vibrant, as it can be. But it was still, I sent you a few pictures there. Pictures really don't do justice, for a lot of the things. But
yeah, I see you got on the Segway. Did you do a little Segway riding?
Yeah, we always do. Whenever we go somewhere, we did Segways years ago. And whenever we get on either a family vacation or we do something, we always check out and see if they have a Segway, because then we do the tour, because instead of driving and parking and walking and all that, you can get on a Segway, and for 2.5 hours, 2 to 2.5 hours, sometimes there are 3, you can get from one end of the town to the other and go into areas where you really can't get because there's limited parking and all that kind of stuff. So
brilliant.
We've been on them probably about 8 or 9 times in our lifetime, and it was just a great way to see Burlington. That was the city that we went into, and the first day we were there, we just kind of went along Burlington because it's right near a big, huge lake. I think it's the second largest, and I forget the name of the lake now. It's escaping me, but second largest lake in the United States without the Great Lakes area. So they got a big waterfront down there, and then the University of Vermont is there, and it was just cool. And then we went to Stowe,
So
which is a ski town.
talk to me about the milking the cow thing. How do we get into
Well,
that?
that was one farm. There was a farm there that, and actually, it's free to get in, and they take you to the back, and they have all kinds of stuff to do, and they had activities for everybody. And we happened to be there the day that you could milk the cow, and so I says, well, let's do it. I'm always game for it. So we went, and they don't use their milk for milk. They use it for their cheese. There's a big.
Oh,
I
nice.
didn't know this, but I guess Vermont and that area, they're known for their cheddar cheese.
Oh, nice.
And things like that. So yeah, we did a little milking of the cow there, and
That's
a nice
too
little
good.
property to take a walk.
Jenna's gonna love this. She's gonna love this.
Yeah.
All right,
yeah,
so back to football, Sammy. If you could put us on the old man bowl again. So tonight is the battle of two 40-plus-year-olds at QB. What are they calling it?
They're calling it the what's that cream that you put on for aches and pains?
Oh,
icy hot. They're calling it the icy hot bowl.
The icy hot bowl. I love it.
Yeah,
oh man. So we got the Steelers at the Bengals tonight. The Pittsburgh's a 5.5-point favorite. All the talking head guys think the Steelers just take this one pretty easily, but I don't know, man. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know either. They traded for their backup quarterback wasn't going, so they traded for Joe Flacco.
Right.
And so, they got him in there. He's probably a little bit more of an upgrade, but I was looking at stats today, and not only are on offense that they're like in the bottom, they're like either from 25th to the 32nd. They're that on defense too. It used to be the way they got by because their offense was always so good. And, Cincinnati had to always score more than they gave up. Well, now they're still giving up the same amount because their defense is lousy, but they're not scoring anymore.
Right.
So, I just think with, Pittsburgh, I think Rodgers is a good fit for them, and with Tomlin. I think my personal opinion is I don't – the point spreads and stuff like that, that's always a hard thing with me. Vegas kind of knows what they're doing with that, but I think Pittsburgh wins the game today. I don't think it's going to be one of those where they go in there and Cincinnati, can beat them. But boy, what I think what this NFL season is showing us is anybody can beat anybody on any given day.
Yeah, and that's what makes it so damn good.
Correct. Yeah, the Eagles have already lost twice. You got Buffalo losing. I didn't see much of the game because the Bears game was on at the same time. But Atlanta seemed like they really handed it to Buffalo.
Yeah.
So Buffalo is losing. There's really nobody that is really walking away with anything where you can say, hey, you might have thought that with the Lions, but then, they wound up losing too. So, you got Baltimore, which is 1-5.
Oh, I love that. I just don't like Baltimore, and I've been just loving watching that.
We have supposedly a cakewalk this week. We got New Orleans now. We should really beat them.
You should. Is that a home game? Is that a home game?
That is a home game for us.
Oh, nice. That's good because the Saints don't look. They're just like they're not getting their butts kicked really every weekend. They're like they're kind of right there when they're at home. But yeah, I like to think
when they go on the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hope you guys can clean house.
Well, and they're already, now they're not even giving you any time. I think it's really, kind of fun. They're already cleaning house on coaches,
Yeah.
Tennessee fires their guy, so there's a lot of other guys that are on the hot seats. I mean, I happen to watch, and, over here, everybody was always under, this town was split 50-50 up until recently about, what, we shouldn't have got rid of Justin Fields. We should have kept on him and used our number one picks to maybe trade and get more or go more defense and all this, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you've seen that Jet game on Sunday morning because they were overseas, that was probably one of the most worst performances that I have ever seen, from a quarterback. Red Zone's not on at that time, so you're stuck watching it if you want to watch football. And the same thing that he did for the Bears, everybody's seeing now. He holds on to the ball too long. He causes sacks that are really not his offensive line's trouble. He's holding on to the ball forever, can't seem to find anybody wide open, and then he goes to take off and run. Well, then if you take away a run from him, I mean, negative 10 yards passing in this day and age in the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, that's unheard of. You
Yeah.
know?
That's like, that makes Geno Smith look like a superstar. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. So it's funny. So I think you're going to start seeing more guys let go. These owners and GMs don't seem like they're seeming to wait. If the year is already, gone, they're going to make the change and try to figure out something for next year. I mean, so I thought that was surprising that we got a firing already only 6 games into the season. So
Absolutely. Well, I hope this weekend it's an easy win, and
who do you guys play this week? Because last week you guys had a cupcake, so you won.
Yeah.
So it's like, who do you have?
I hope it's not. I think I gotta have to look real quick because
I don't have up on it.
I did not prep for that. Let's see. Here we go. We got. Oh God, it's the Chiefs.
Oh no! Oh my goodness!
Yeah, they're a 12.5-point favorite. I might just take that all the way to the bank.
Yeah, you might want to. So
yeah. So and it's in Kansas City. I remember a couple of years ago when we were okay. We beat the Chiefs at home like mid-season because I just feel like the Chiefs just didn't show up. So I mean, you never know what could happen, but that could get real ugly right there.
Yeah, that could get ugly quick. So, yeah, especially in Kansas City. And it seems like the Chiefs are rolling. Plus, they get Rice back now after his 6-game suspension. So, they're going to want to get him involved. So, it could be a long day for you. So
that's right. Well, I'll be paying attention to that Bears game on that afternoon.
All right, we'll be there. We'll take some more pictures at tailgate and send them in.
Do it. Oh, yeah, that's great. Definitely take some pictures and some video for us.
All right, buddy. I'll talk to you next week.
All right, have a great day.
See ya. Bye.
See you, bud. All right. Big Frank always makes it better in here on the breakdown every time. Oh, man. Why do you have to say who you guys got this week? We got the Chiefs. That's going to be an ass-kicking of epic proportions. Anyways, thanks again, Big Frank, for joining us, and thanks to my technical producer extraordinaire, Sammy Wolf, for helping make the whole Big Frank stuff work and putting up those cool images on our show. Let's see, to close out, let's do a little recap. We did a little bit of a tribute to Diane Keaton, 79 years of just awesome, great art and movies.
Did you want to talk about the AI thing?
Oh yeah, let's you know what? I got my little
Before
personal
close out.
Yeah, we do. Thank you, Sammy. We do have we tend to touch on AI topics at least for a moment or two or 10 or 20 or sometimes 30 on this program. But I have in front of me, as you all know, that I love there it is. Sammy pulled it up for me. I have the Wall Street Journal on, I believe this is Monday or Tuesday's edition. And on the personal journal, it says, with AI tools, our faces no longer belong to us. Your likeness is now fair game, and anyone can create fake versions of you. So let's see. AI video apps like Sora can clone your likeness and generate a clip of you doing whatever you can imagine, like making and serving a fancy grilled cheese sandwich, or maybe something a hell of a lot worse than making a grilled cheese sandwich, folks. Yeah. Yes. Sammy's doing a little dance back there for me. I was talking to somebody about this. Maybe it was Trav the other night on the phone, like we do. But some of these, if you are 65, I don't want to put anybody in a box here. Let's make it older. Let's say you're 73 plus years old and you're just run-of-the-mill dude my dad's age, okay? And you show him an AI video that's of something completely absurd. Like, for example, I saw one of a 500-pound man on a mountain bike barreling down a hill. It's going to fool these people, and it does. Like, I have friends that their moms will send them stuff they saw on Facebook or something, and can you believe this? And they're like, Mom, this is an AI video, okay? So that's kind of the tip of the iceberg of the issue here. of like the fact that our elderly population cannot differentiate an AI video versus a real video. And so you have, but what happens as this progresses, and here I am again, nobody gives a damn. I'm just asking questions. Some people give a damn. It's my cynical, like, kind of deprecating humor here. Like, I'm the idiot, but it really does feel, I'm surrounded in my inner circle of folks that actually are concerned about some of these issues. But I think as a whole, I think I'll speak for myself, but I feel very alone on this topic, on like the concerns that I have on the future of everything with this stuff. And I feel like it's just all right in front of us, and it's like it's a joke and it's on us. And I just don't see how this goes good. But I definitely feel like I'm one of the few. And maybe it's because I'm not profiting off of it monetarily and financially. But anyhow, as we move on to continue our recap. Oh man, see, they have the arts and review on the Wall Street Journal. It's so good. The Met. I want to go to the Met. Franco Zeffirelli's production of Puccini's classic returns to the Met throws audiences directly into 19th century Paris. Very interesting. Okay, so we talked about Diane Keaton. We just covered our AI. We discussed the ICE raids and the questions that I ask about that, which is essentially, to recap, what I read and what I'm hearing is that we should be able to choose which of our laws we enforce. And that leads me to be like, well, there's laws that I don't like, that I don't want to enforce. So what do we do? Where are we going? Who the hell knows? And all of our sports guys. Okay, all the serious topics aside, this is what's beautiful about this damn country, is it is October and we have baseball, we have football, we have hockey starting, we have college football, we got high school football, Friday Night Lights. Come on, people, Sundays. I met a guy on Sunday this weekend that went viral for a TikTok song right here at the local Chili's, and that is where I messed up. Because I should have put that on the show today. Maybe I'll do that next week. Anyhow, thanks again to Sammy, my producer extraordinaire. Check out the Travie Wavy before this. That was a good one. Don't miss that one. That one's very interesting. There's this it's some sort of thing in Baird with the music, correct? Yeah, Big Time Bash. What is it? Big Time Bash. The Big Time Bash in Baird. You'll have some Cash in the Change playing. I hear William Clark Green's playing there, which is an old running buddy of mine from back in the day, like circa 2005 in Lubbock, Texas. Dude's got some great tunes. Gosh, get outside this weekend. Wear your sunscreen if you're in Abilene. It's going to be hot as hell. Be pushing about 105. Thanks again, Sammy. The Wall Street Journal. I'm going to be looking into the Chicago Tribune. Maybe I'll get another subscription so I can keep up with Big Frank. Thanks, Big Frank, for joining us, and I hope everybody has a great day. I hope all of your teams win, and go Raiders against the Chiefs. Dear God in heaven, help us, and go Bears. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. See you next week.